Well, that first picture that you just saw was April 2021. So today is May 2024. So 3 years later. See, what a big difference, huh? That's how it looks now. Much nicer with all the dragon fruits and everything in place. But today I'm going to do a deep dive into my planter number 4. Yep. So on this planter there are 2 varieties there. I have Halley's Comet and I have Dark Star. They both look very similar. So Halley's Comet, I have it at a HC right here. That's Halley's Comet. And then you can see this is also Halley's Comet HC. I mean, you gotta tag them. And then you see DS, Dark Star. So if you look at them side by side, they look the same size. Everything's the same. And they are both self-sterile. So you need to cross-pollinate them in order for them to turn into fruit, the flower. So here they are. And this is how big they are right now. But I'm going to share you their baby pictures. Well, did you like those baby pictures? Yeah, that was back in May 2021. And look at them now, 3 years later. This is how big they are and how big they got. In fact, 2 years ago, 2022, I got my first fruit from Halley's Comet, from that baby plant that you saw. That was the one fruit that 1 year. And then last year, I had a couple more. So last year, I want to say I had 3 of them. And also last year, in 2023, I had 1 Dark Star fruit. So I was able to try both of them. And Dark Star was a little bit smaller in size, even though the branches look the same. The fruit size is a little bit smaller. So Halley's Comet's a little bigger. Now, the thing with these 2 varieties is that they're both self-sterile, which means in order for you to get fruits out of them, when the flower blooms, you need to cross-pollinate them with different variety. So now, let me just jump into that. That's a good segue. Let me just come to the back side here. So as you can see, let me go back a step. You can see a lot of new buds are growing right now in the spring season. So May is like a lot of buds, right? And this planter is kind of the farthest one in the back, right? So if I walk all the way back, see, it's located at the back of the garden. And why I'm telling you that is that I'm setting you up to be surprised. As you walk to the back, as far as you can go to the back of my yard here, look, a flower bud. So right now, I'm holding a middle chopstick. So this is roughly about maybe 3.5 inches at most right now. So there's still a long way before this becomes a flower, because it needs to get all the way up to here where my chopstick is, 11 inches. That's the magic number. I don't know why. Every single one of these buds always get to about 11 inches. That's when they start opening. At least 11 inches. 10.5 maybe. But definitely I never seen a flower open at 10 inches long. So it's always 11 inches. So there's a long way for this guy to reach all the way to the tip of this chopstick here for it to grow or open flowers, right? So that kind of gives you an idea how much longer it's going to take before it will become a flower. Why I say that is that this bud, look at that, there's another new bud. I noticed it back on May 3rd. So this bud, it opened, I noticed it back on April 10th. So it's the very first one to become a bud, a flower bud. I was excited. But right now we're kind of almost May 10th, right? May 7th, almost May 10th. There's no way it's going to get to 11 inches anytime soon. It may be another month before this will become 11 inches long, all the way up there. So it may be June 10th before this thing opens up as a flower. Why am I so focused on dates like this? And that's because June is typically summer, right? All the kids are out of school. They all graduated, whatever, and you got your vacation plans and all. You know, oh yeah, the Bahama cruise, oh Hawaii, oh go camping, all that stuff, right? no one's gonna be home. And that's when this guy opens up to become a flower, right, in June. So I'm bringing this up is that you need to think about it when you're growing varieties that are self-fertile, or any just growing dragon fruit in general. If you're not around to pollinate them on that one special night, assuming June 10th, this thing opens up, right? If you went on vacation on that week, who's gonna come here to pollinate this flower for you? On June 10th, that's the only day it will ever become a flower. On June 11th, the flower dies, and you can't pollinate anymore. See, you missed it. So if you schedule vacation on the day when this guy opens up as a flower, kiss it goodbye, right? Because especially the self-sterile ones, these are the ones that you need to cross-pollinate. Since this is my only bud right now that is at this stage, this big, I have little buds like this. It doesn't help because it's the same plant, so I can't even cross-pollinate it from flower to flower. I need to get a different variety, and I'm going to show you. I do have a different variety. Okay, here's my American Beauty, and it also has a bud right there. It's in the shadows. There you go. Move it out. There it is. It's not the number 8 on top. It's actually a B, so it's hard to write vertical like that. So on May 3rd, I noticed the bud, and this is how big it is today. Today is May 7th, so 4 days later. So hopefully this bud will turn into a flower faster than the buds on my Halley's Comet. Okay, so there, you saw the American Beauty. So I do have another bud that's also at 5'3". So guess what? I am rooting for my American Beauty to flower faster than this guy. Or this is actually 5'1", I'm sorry. Yeah, 5'1" on this side. 5'3" is probably from a different year. I think it's probably that one from the other year. But yeah, 5'1" is this one. I'm hoping, because they're two different varieties of plants, and I don't know the speed they don't have the same speed from bud to flower, right? So I am hoping that the American Beauty will go faster than this one by a day or 2 days, right? So if it's 5'1" in 2 months, it'll be 7'1". Hopefully my American Beauty bud will become a flower at, let's say 4:30, 1 day ahead. Then I will have pollen to cross-pollinate this. If this one beats the other one, then that means I will need to have pollen from somewhere else to pollinate it. So let's go back to this. Go back to this 410 one, right? So what happens on June 10th if you're on vacation? That's it. This is gone. This is a goner. Because if you don't have anybody here to help pollinate it for you on that June 10th night, around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, it's not going to work. I went on vacation one year, and my American Beauty flowered. When I came, so I was, that's a self-fertile one, so it's not even as strict as this one, right? Self-sterile. American Beauty is a self-fertile, so their own pollen can pollinate themselves, but you need someone to help pollinate it. So I was hoping that when I'm on vacation, the bugs or flies or whatever will come help me, right? Nope, nobody helped me. So that flower died. You don't find out until a couple of weeks later when it turns all yellow and it falls off. So even American Beauty, a self-fertile type flower, doesn't get pollinated when you're not here to help it out. So this guy's basically dead, right? If I'm not here on June 10th, right? In 2 months from now. So May 10th, right now we're May, so another month. When it gets to 11 inches, it opens. So June 10th, luckily I am not going to go on vacation. But then the next challenge is, where are you going to get the pollen to cross-pollinate it, right? Being as fertile as I am, I can't help this guy because it's got to be another dragon fruit. So anyways, I did save some pollen from last year from other varieties, and I put it in the freezer. But I am not 100% confident in that, because the freezer ones, you're supposed to take it out, thaw it, and then use it, right? Well, did I save it correctly? Did I package it correctly? Before I even placed it in the freezer, Are the pollens still alive? I don't know. Because I'm so new at this, I don't know if I saved my pollens correctly. So I'm taking a risk. So hopefully those pollen will work. I can pollinate this on June 10th and go. If it doesn't go, and this guy also beats my American Beauty, then this one's gonna die too because I don't have other pollen for it. That means the pollens I saved, so that's the risk. My confidence level is not that high yet because I haven't done it enough. So it's only my second year saving pollens. So hopefully it will work on this one, right? Because this is the first one that's gonna bloom. So what I'm talking all about this is that when you're growing dragon fruit, you gotta think about the time when the bud becomes a flower, and it's always gonna be in summer. Now the thing is that it will come in different waves. Usually for me in Northern California here, it comes in 3 waves. So this is the first wave. All these that you see here, all these buds in late April and May, I consider these the first wave. And then 2 months later, like around June, another wave of buds will come out. And those things will become a flower bud and then become a flower in 2 months after that, right? So in August. And then in August, another wave of these flower buds will come out. So those are the late ones, and they don't become flower until October. And then you're not gonna get the fruit until like late November or even December. Those are the winter ones. So the best time to have fruit is to have the early ones, but the problem with the self-sterile type is that in the early ones, you don't have pollen to cross-pollinate it with. Or you take your chances on the freezer ones, right, that you've been saving. So hopefully my freezer ones will work in June when I pollinate this guy. So what you have to think about is that 2 things. One, are you going to be around in the summer? If you are a busy person, you always go on vacation every single summer, dragon fruit may not be for you. Because that's the only time they're going to open up in flowers, right? But because there are 3 waves, you may miss the first wave, you will get fruit on the second wave. So if you're okay with that, you knock yourself out, right? So you can get some fruits if depending on how many waves of these buds you get. Okay? And then second, do you really want self-sterile ones like these where you need cross-pollinating? See, American Beauty is good, Vietnamese White is good, and some of the other varieties are good because they have self-fertile, so that you can just use their pollen to pollinate themselves. But when you have a self-sterile one that buds first, you're taking another chance, right? So you're hoping that you have the pollen to pollinate it. So enough about that. I don't want to keep talking to death, but I'm just giving you the perspective of what happens when you grow dragon fruit and some of the commitments you have to do. And there will be times when you may miss some of the fruits, even though they grow out like this. See? This by the time it gets to summertime and it like that, it's kind of probably like 6 ounces, right? That's a lot of nutrients that went into this. That nutrient could have gone everywhere else into the plant, right? It doesn't just have to come here. And if that flower dies because you were not here to pollinate it, or the freezer pollens that you used didn't work, it's a huge waste of energy, right? All that nutrient, 6 ounces of energy is gone. And that's why I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do next, right? So right now this one has a lot of buds. When the first bud comes out, a lot of buds will come out. So this is all from Halley's Comet, and it's from this particular one, the one where I spell out the whole word, Halley's Comet. Earlier I showed you the HC, that's also Halley's Comets, to differentiate the 2 plants. One I spell out the whole name, the other one I write HC, then I know which plant is from where. So for instance, this one came from the Halley's Comet plant. The other one on the other side, HC. So that's to also tell you, is there a rule of thumb when Halley's Comet's gonna bud and flower? No, because they were both planted at the same time, but only this one have flower buds and the other one don't. The other one only had these kind of branch buds. So look, there's a lot of these little flower buds showing up right now because it's coming from the same plant. So just to get a count real quick, So I noticed some at May 1st. I'm writing them down because I'm going to track the exact date. Maybe I will do an average of all of them to see if are they roughly 45 days or 60 days, right, from a bud to a flower, because that's very important for me to manage my vacation time. Okay, so on this one there's a 1 and 2, there's 3 and 4 and 5. So this is a kind of a, so there's 5 so far. This is kind of a narrow branch, so I know this is probably not enough to support more than 2 fruits, because it needs to drag nutrients into them. I may do away with one. This one, even though it came out looking like a flower bud, but it's kind of like a branch bud, so it may do me a favor. I'm gonna pick it when it's a little bit bigger, so I know. So I need to decide which one I'm gonna do away. So that's 5, and then up here there's 6. This is new, I just noticed it today. So I would be putting a 5, 7 right here for this one, because this one just came out that I just noticed. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10, 11. Yep, so that's 11 fruit buds, right, that we saw. That's a lot, okay? And they're all gonna come out around, so May 3rd, let's say 2 months, right? So that's gonna be July 3rd. I may not be here on that July 3rd, because in America we celebrate 4th of July and a lot of people go camping and vacation. If I'm not here on that July 3rd that night, a lot of these fruits are gonna go to waste. See, that's why I keep stressing the importance of dates in the summer. That's a lot. It's gonna hurt a lot. That's like a dozen fruits, right, that you're not gonna have just because you're on vacation. And even if I bring a friend to come help me, they may not all bloom on 7:30, right? Some may come 7:2, some may 7:4, 7:5. My friend would have to come every single night to pollinate this. Not only that, I got to give them freezer type pollen to pollinate it, or pollen from another bottle. So it's a lot of things to ask a friend to do, so you keep that in mind. So down here, so more about the summer, how you can help your plant in the summer and going on vacation at the same time. And that's why I put these irrigation system here. I don't use this all the time when I'm here at home. I would water them myself with the sprayer. But when I go on vacation, it's the summertime, it's going to be very dry. So it needs water from this guy at least every 3 days. And I would run it for an hour. So an hour is dependent on how many pots you have. I have 11 pots that runs off the same hose, the main hose, which I put over here. I'll show you. This is the spider right here that's split up to all the planters. Being that there's only one water source, and to go into like 11 pots like that, there's a very little water pressure coming out from these spouts. So you're only getting small little drips here. So I would have to run the water for at least an hour, so all the 11 pots will get wet. Otherwise, it's not enough. Now, if you only have 3 pots or 1 pot, right, you may only need 5 minutes or even 10 minutes, and it will just saturate all the soil. But because I have so many pots, I'm going to need to run it by that. So I do have a timer to time it, to set it to run every 3 days, so that it will wet my soil when I'm on vacation. So this deep dive is all about planning ahead for vacations in the summertime, right? So there's not much to talk about between the plants here, because they are so similar and they are pretty thick. I mean, this is so you can see that in 3 years they get pretty big. And here, now this is a nice one that fell down, grew down low, and then there was a little arm that came out. Now you're supposed to cut this out. Professionals will tell you, this, you're cutting it out. But because I'm Charlie and I like to have fun, right? I just want to see what it does. See, I let it grow back right here and then come onto the other side. like that. And then later on, when this new bud grow up, I'm gonna just let it go back up, so it kind of makes a loop. Yeah, I'm crazy like that. You know, growing dragon fruit plants doesn't have to be just about growing for the fruits, right? Yeah, you can have other ways to have fun, just like this. See, I put that in on my I did a bonsai with that, so you can do the same with these. So right now I'm looking at these plants here, and then I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about pruning and also being energy efficient, right? When I say energy efficient is don't put too much, don't allow nutrients to go into a branch like this big or something like that, and then you decide that, hey, I don't want this here, right? I'm going to cut it off. That's the worst time to cut off a branch, right? After, you know how much nutrients went into something like this? This is probably 4 ounces, 6 ounces of nutrients that you're just gonna toss away? No. So instead, you don't let the nutrients go out that far. You wanna take them out as soon as they are this tiny, right? Look at that, this tiny one. Now, the problem is you wanna remove them as soon as you can. Why I say that is that as soon as you can, you could be brave and remove it with your finger, but then you know that there's thorns right there. You see the thorns? And that's why I'm holding this middle chopstick right here. Instead of, you know, removing it with your finger and getting, you know, hurt yourself. Like that, see? I just removed it. So by doing that, there's no more nutrients gonna go into here anymore, right? It stops. All that, you know, the source, the travel, whatever the path, it stops right here. Now it's going to be diverted back to other areas. It's going to go back to this branch right here, or maybe that branch over there, or maybe in the future where there's they may have a fruit bud. All the nutrients will go there. See? So I'm conserving nutrients. I don't want to let it get to like this big and then knock it down, because it took a lot of nutrients to make this bud this big, and then make it that big, right? And then make it that big. If you remove it at this point, man, it just it hurts me to cut it off here now. To throw away all that nutrient, right? It could have gone to so many other places. You know, it's like you have $100, you don't, like, you know, if it's a broken car, you keep throwing money into it, fixing it, and finally you throw it away, right? It's kind of like that. You know, if you know you're gonna throw it away, just throw it away right from the get-go. Don't fix it. Don't waste money doing it. So that's how it is. And there you go. So now, between the two varieties, which one would you grow, right? Now, I like the Halley's Comet better because it's a bigger fruit, and that's the only reason. Does it taste better? Now, taste is hard for me to say, because different people like different things, right? Some people like to drink Coca-Cola, some people like to drink Pepsi, and it's hard to say which one is the best. But then if you ask me which one I would recommend, if you only have space for like one or the other, then I tell you to go with Halley's Comet, because the fruit is a little bigger. And also I get more fruits from the Halley's Comet so far than my Dark Star. And that's the reason. So with that, this ends my deep dive into my planter number 4.